Here we go.
Yeah.
Everybody see that?
Yep.
All right. And we're off. All right. Welcome to the wonderful world of auxiliary metrics. And as we like to say here, our job is to make sense of the numbers, which are legion. So there's 7 products that we're going to look at tonight. The first one's called LUCI. More on that in a moment. The unit summary data, and then 5 short snappers. Those are just a couple of slides each. And the whole idea here is to make things easier, not only for national people, but for people in the field as well. All right. Well, first thing you need to do is get to the M directorate where they have all these wonderful toys. And here is the you can see here's the link. You don't have to worry about writing all this stuff down. I will send everybody actually, Chris, I will send you a PDF for distribution so everybody can have a record of this whole thing.
Okay.
So no need to take hurried notes. We'll send you a record of the call. All right. So anyway, the M directorate is where they keep all this. So let's start with LUCI, and this stands for Local Unit Charted Information, and this monitors 7 key performance measurements, the key performance measures. The little background story here. Back about 2013, I think it was, Alex Molesky in those days was a district captain here in First Southern, and we were having a open house meeting at Sector Long Island Sound in New Haven. And during the break, he came up and said, "Oh, Pete, I love those reports you do for national on national trends, but is there any way you can create something that goes all the way down to the unit level?" Wow, I mean, this was quite a request. I stammered something like, "Let me look at it and see what I can do." This required a lot of caffeination. I was in my favorite espresso bar over in Darien, Connecticut the next day, hunched over my computer, and I had this caffeine-based epiphany. And all of a sudden, everybody's looking around as I howled, "You know, son of a gun, we can do this." Well, it took another 6 months to get this online, but we come up with a product which is now used throughout the field, but it's not as well known as I'd like it to be. So that's we'll be covering that right now. So LUCI covers 7 broad measures, including vessel exams, public education hours, marine dealer visits, surface patrol hours, member training, membership levels. This is new. If you download LUCI tonight, you won't be able to get this, but in 2 weeks, that'll be up online. That'll be in the February LUCI. LUCI's always come out mid-month, and they're always available from the M Directorate website. And new members joined. So you see, you're going to see a bunch of colorful bar graphs, but you'll notice that there's always 2 colors in the graphs. What's up with that? What's up with the 2 colors? Well, here's a practical example. The lighter color shows the work performed over the entire calendar year. So for example, public education hours in this particular unit, wherever it is, they did 25,494 hours in the year 2019. The darker color shows what it's been doing the year to date. So this is from a September report. So they've done most of their work for the year, and which is about, in the same year as the 25,000 I just mentioned, they've done about 20,000. You can see from the bar here. So lighter color is what they did all year. Darker color is what they did at the time of the report. Now the current year, there is no end of year yet. So the current year is always dark. It's always year to date. So when you add the 2 colors together, you get a sense of how the unit's doing this time of year compared to the previous 5 years. And you also get a sense of what's been going on all year during the previous year. So you get kind of a composite picture. So need to update the slide. Now we're up to 7 performance measures. You can look at up to 7 units. This is an enhancement we came up with in the past several months. There's not room on this Zoom slide, so we're just going to look at two at a time for contrast's sake. So, and I've tried to make everything 11 South Pacific for this particular gathering. So here we have San Diego Harbor and San Diego with their vessel safety checks side by side. Public education hours. Notice that everything's in a different color now. Public education's in orange as opposed to the reds that we had in vessel examination. Marine dealer visits. Crew hours underway. Member training hours. Same two flotillas, just side by side. New members joined. Obviously, the numbers are a lot shorter here than hundreds or thousands of hours. And finally, membership levels. This is a new feature, as I say, and you'll see this on the next LUCI. And unlike the previous 6 categories, membership levels. The pink bars are always end of year totals, and the blue bar is the current year to date at the time of the report. So, for example, in this here, it's in the case of well, let's take a look at San Diego Harbor. They have 84 members at the end of January 2022, whereas the previous years, 2017 through 2021, are the membership at the end of the year of those particular years. So this one's the metric is presented a little bit differently than the previous 6. All right, now there's 2 kinds of views you can select. And you can either, say for example, you're queuing up 4, 5, 6 units. You can either look at them with the same vertical scale, or you can look at them each with their own vertical scale to kind of flesh out the graph. I'll show you what I mean. You see the arrow here that points to same vertical scale for all units? You can select yes or no. It's a drop-down screen, so you can't mess anything up. Here's kind of a close-up on that. So yeah, yes or no with a vertical scale, and each one has its uses. So for example, here we're not using the same vertical scale. So you notice that San Diego, it fleshes out the graph in full view, but it's on a different vertical scale than San Diego Harbor. One goes up to maxes out at 250, the other maxes out at 600. And this is fine for looking at year-to-year changes within San Diego Harbor and also within San Diego. But it's not a very good comparative. If you want to compare your units and how they're doing year to year, you can use the same vertical scale, and this is what you get. And you can toggle between this. Like the historic membership numbers, this is a new feature that's going to go live in 2 weeks. So it's just a different way of doing things. Sometimes you're going to come up empty with a certain activity. Here's a live fire example. Terminal Island does not do marine dealer visits for whatever reason. So be it. Maybe they're up to other things. If somebody doesn't do it, they're going to show a 0. No harm, no foul. You can't just compare. You don't only have to compare flotillas and LUCI. You can compare divisions. These are the 5th and 6th division on your end. And you can compare any category there too. You can even compare yourself with 11 South or 1st Northern if you're so inclined. You just load in as many or as few districts as you want to compare. And you can even look at national aggregates. So we have the whole span from the flotilla up to the auxiliary wide level. And in the end of the day, if you want, say for example, you want to make a presentation to your DCO or even to the DNACO or somebody, you can, every PC and every Mac nowadays have a snip utility. You can take whatever graphs you want to snip and put them into your Microsoft Word report or whatever platform you're using. So it's very kind of practical that way. Okay, moving on to something called the Unit Summary Data Report. Now, some of you may remember this back in the day. Back in the day, you had something that looked like this. You may or may not have seen this. This was a product of the Chief Director's Office. Little hard to read, didn't go to everybody, and I don't believe it went far below the district level, but it was a useful product. Well, then came the migration to Aux Data 2. And here's where it ended up, the cyber graveyard. So The chief director's office, through no fault of their own, said we can't do this anymore. So it fell to my people to redesign it, to build it back better, and presenting the new and improved unit summary data report. Now, what this is, it's a snapshot of all human and material resources. We update it the first day of every month. And, here it says February 1st, for example. And we post this immediately after getting it over to the front office and to BSX. They're quite interested in all this. So up here in the green bars and on the green top of this, you have district and national totals for a wide variety of measures. And down on the bottom, you have a breakdown all the way down to not just the flotilla level, it'll even take you down to the detachment level. I believe you have a number of those out in 11 South. And you can scroll down and down and down. It'll take you from Maine all the way to Alaska. It's got the whole kit and caboodle in here. So let's take a closer look. I mean, these are teeny tiny numbers. So first of all, you have numbers for all echelons from detachment all the way up to the district level and the auxiliary level. As far as member status goes, you want to know how your numbers break out. We have two flavors of OXOP, have for years. Then you got BQs, of course, are our bread and butter. And then you have your IQs and APs. It's always nice to know how much of what we have. And again, this is for all echelons. So as far as the operations certification goes, we have all this as far as the air folk go. Now, the tricky thing about air certifications is that AUX data and AUX data 2, they'll kind of cake them on. For example, I've been an aircraft commander, a first pilot, a co-pilot, and an air observer. So we take the highest, most recent valid certification, and that's how we report that. This seems to work pretty well. We also list boat crew, coxswain, and QEs, and not forgetting our friends who do telecommunications. All kinds of other certifications that we break down: AIDS verifiers, PVs, VEs, watch standards instructors, culinary specialists. That's a hot new one, especially in a number of districts. And that's human resources, but we also do facilities resources, and we break them out to aircraft, boats, and radios, operational and non-operational. I don't have to tell you, COVID's been absolute hell on our facilities, auxiliary wide, and we're starting to see a recovery already, but boy, oh boy, it's been a hard go. All right, that's it for unit summary data. Let's do those 5 quick ones I mentioned. Something called the training management report. That was another product that used to be another legacy product that looked a little like this. You may have seen this, and this came out of AUX, the old AUX data. Then came the migration to AUX data 2. You guessed it, that's where it went. Yep. So again, it fell to us to redesign it and recreate it. So presenting the new and improved training management report. And this is also available at the M website on a monthly basis. This is what the front page looks like. And you'll see all these colored tabs down here. You just poke on a tab and it'll give you a breakdown of who's who. So for example, in every row, you've got the basics: unit number, name, member name, and status. Now I'm going to use coxswain as an example. It'll have all the required workshops. Obviously, these are not workshops that the pilot will be interested, but each specialty has their own row to hoe here. Notice that core training is very crucially important here, and also bloodborne pathogens required of just about everybody, along with ITRM and RM-TCT, absolutely essential as far as the surface quals are concerned. And we also report workloads, this year's and last year's coxswain hours and crew hours. That's important. So this is what it looks like. Now, a lot of information here, a little hard to read, I'll grant you. And you'll notice that if you're in some of these horizontal bars are grayed out. If they're grayed out because if they're in re-year status or rework status. So that's an automatic color code. Makes the report a lot easier to read. And there's a separate page for boat crew and a whole lot of other certifications. Look at them all. I won't read these to you. You can see them. And these will be in the PDF that I send out anyway. So we cover a lot of ground here. Okay, here's another quick one, the election eligibility report. First, a cautionary note, there is an embedded election eligibility report that Aux Data 2 will automatically crank out, which is not reliable. And everybody from the front office on down has realized this, and our election eligibility report is kind of the go-to here. Well, there's a lot of factors that affect election eligibility. And this screen kind of dramatizes all the things that people running for Flotilla and division office need to worry about. Well, this report, and I'll be the first to admit this is very difficult to read, but this report covers all those bases. That's why there's so darn many columns. And we renew this on a quarterly basis, January through August. What happens in August? Right after NACON, you go into election season, right after Labor Day. So we increase the op tempo September through mid-December. And just to make sure that, because a lot of people are scrambling to get current so they can run for whatever office they're running for. And this is our best-selling report in terms of website hits. Moving on, core training. There are two flavors of core training. Specifically, you get the one and done courses. There's two of those, and you get the 5-year renewables. Let's go into more detail. Ethics and personal gifts, which personally I found to be the most annoying course to take. Nobody seems to like that one. But luckily, you pass it once, you're forevermore done. In addition to ethics and personal gifts, you have BQ2, but that only applies if you joined on or after February 1st, 2018. Everybody who joined before that time is grandfathered. But if you joined after that time and you want to be current in core training, you have to have BQ2. This is actually a wonderful course. I remember when Commodore Simone was in NACO, he said, I've been in this thing of ours for a long time, and even I learned something from this. It's really quite well designed. Then you get the 5-year renewables. They're listed here. And the thing about core training with these renewables is that you're good until the 31 December of the 5th year. So as things stand right now, if they last passed a course in 2016, they were good until the past 31st of December, and now they're not. Now they're overdue, so they really need to retake these things. Anybody who passed in 2017, they're good to the end of the current calendar year. So here's an example of a core training report, and this is updated monthly now. And so if they passed, you notice here's a fellow who passed all his courses in 2017. It's a yellow, it's cautionary. He's good to go until the end of 2022. These other folks up here, they're overdue. And as you know, you need core training to do just about anything meaningful in the auxiliary. So this is pretty important. Here's a little closer up view. And as you can see, if somebody's overdue, we're going to catch it. Now, we're not the core training police. We don't throw people into re-year. We don't even recommend people go into re-year. We just report the facts. It's up to the DIROXs to do what they're going to do. All right, moving on to intro to risk management. This burst on the scene about 2 years ago, and there was an urgent need to get it done. My DNACO, I was head of FORCECOM in those days. My DNACO called me up and said, what do we do? I said, Randy, we ring the bell once a week, and we push this aggressively, and it worked. And most people in the AUX have ITRM. That's what we call it for short. And there's a lot of offices that require ITRM. Near everybody who works at National, and a lot of people in the field have to take this course. And not just offices, but certification holders as well. And to do just about anything, you need ITRM. And then you get all these. I call these the maritime classics. There aren't a lot of these, but these are important and difficult certifications to get, and to perform any of these, you need ITRM. Well, we've had such success with ITRM that instead of sending out a multi-tab report, we've reduced it to one list that we call it the monthly non-compliance list. In this particular example, this is a live fire example of the last report run, and look at all the people from 11 South who need it. Oh, wait, nobody does. Well done. Everybody's current who needs it. So that's a beautiful thing. As you can see, some of your neighboring districts still have a few stragglers. Just a couple here, a couple there. All right. Then you have that's ITRM. Then you have its close cousin, RM-TCT, which and that replaced the old team coordination training some years ago. And it's almost, but not quite, the same list of people who need to have RM-TCT. And again, the Marine Classics here. And this is a multi-tab report. Here I'm showing the tab for 11 Southern. And most people are pretty darn good here. This top member, she's overdue. She needs to retake it. And we have somebody further down who needs to retake it in the next month or two. And if you're in the green, you're good. If you're in the yellow, get busy. If you're in the red, please get busy. Okay, so just a couple of final thoughts. And this is the one slide I will actually read out because I want to stress this. It's important. Local knowledge of the story behind the stats is key. It's 11 South officers like you, rather than national staffers like me, who are in positions to know what factors may underlie units' metrics and to determine how best to amplify positive trends and remedy negative ones. That's it. Questions?
Mrs. Chaffee always has questions. Thank you. I was used to those old reports that you did show us.
Yep.
And so what I'm really wanting to know for division, my division is Division 12.
Yeah.
To go to, we used to be able to do members down the side and qualifications across the top, or CT, RM, all of that. So I think we could get to it. Is it under the training management report that you redesigned, where I can look at the division and see the whole scheme of who's—
Sure can. And there's a whole, as far as we could TMR, we call it for short, but training management report is updated every month. We'll be doing it. We'll be doing our next iteration mid-month. And for folks out west, we have a whole set of instructions on how to get rid of all these pesky Midwestern and Eastern districts, in a big hurry. So you don't have to scroll through Worcester, Mass, and Cape May, New Jersey on your way out to where you are. So yeah, you can get rid of all those Eastern units, and you can look at your own division at leisure. And everything is sorted by flotilla and division, so no problem there. So that way your division and its constituent flotillas are all grouped together.
So it's just a matter of drilling down and I'll find it.
Yeah, and as I say, you can speedily eliminate those midsection and eastern districts that are piled on top of you, so you don't have to go wade through them every time. And in fact, that particular report, there's a whole separate tab telling you exactly how to do that.
I've got a question.
Shoot.
Mike Doyle in Phoenix, Arizona.
Yep.
N7. This looks like a pretty good report to sort of gauge a readiness factor for if you want to drill it down to the flotilla level. Is there a way you could take those metrics and sort of assign a number on a scale for readiness factor, like in operations or any of the other areas or the health factor of the flotilla? Or is that just something that you'd have to interpret if you're looking at the data?
That's something we haven't taken on here, because what passes for readiness in Southern California might have a different meaning in Galveston or Philadelphia, for example. However, I would say that there's enough smart folks in the D11 leadership and its constituent divisions that could take our data from the training management report and make some pretty good inferences as to who's ready for what.
Yeah. And then the other thing that's recent, this new mandate, the vaccine mandate, have you been asked, or are you looking into any?
We have not received any testings on that. If in fact we are, we're ready and willing to help out. But yeah, that's hopefully that'll be academic in the next couple of weeks. To borrow a phrase from history, all I know is what I read in the papers.
Yeah, right.
We can hope. I do have
all I can say is this is learning the Greek alphabet the hard way. Pardon me?
Well, I have a question, but
Sure.
Wendy Park, I'm Flotilla Commander of 9-5 in Las Vegas. First of all, can I just say thank you, Ann Chiappi, for getting us through AUXLAMS 2. That was a challenge and you were so good with that. So we appreciate that. But my question is, I am trying very hard to find out where I have members that are REYR or REWRK for vessel exams. I'm already got everybody working on the core training. I can't find the other.
For REYR and for rework, take a look at the training management report, and you can see it under the VSC tab. We actually address that.
Okay, but then this may be a silly question, but exactly where do I find the training management report?
Not a silly question at all. It's available at the M Directorate website. And you're all going to, via your leadership, you're all going to get this presentation in PDF format, and it'll come with a link, and you'll be able to retrieve that with ease.
Thank
and
you.
The TMR is updated second or third week of the month, depending.
All right, thank you very much.
Sure thing. But yeah, there is actually a tab that addresses people in rework and REYR in the realm of vessel exams. I mean, that's one of the most important things we do in the auxiliary. So leaving that out would be the banana split without the banana.
One more question, if I may.
Fire away.
Is it possible, I don't know if you have time or plan for this, but could you actually pull up the site live and kind of just cycle through some of the different tabs quickly? And
Yeah.
what's your design?
If
you have time.
Not sure I do. We can do a live fire. Standby one.
Leslie, I didn't mean to cut you off there. Did you?
No.
Nope, no problem. If he goes live, then that'll answer my question too, because I just want to see the PWC.
Okay.
Okay.
Last time I saw it, it did not track the, what's the damn test? Nav rules. The PWC chart was not tracking nav rules last time I looked at it.
If that's a problem, we'll fix it.
Hi, Leslie.
Hi, Wendy.
Bear with me just a second.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Keep in mind they just had a major REYR rework done over at Nationals, so there's going to be a lot more people than depending on the specialty. There's going to be a lot more people in REYR than there have been in previous months. Okay, let's see. Here we go. Everybody see that?
Yeah.
All right. So there's a question about vessel examiners. Oh, here we are on the front page. This report was prepared on the 24th of January. So let's tab over to vessel examiners. This may take a second to load because throughput and all. There it is. And here you go. And let's go down where you are. It always takes a while to go through Florida.
Yeah, you could actually do a search and just pull out 11409.
Oh, no
Or
worries.
is it-
We'll be there. We'll be
Oh,
there
no,
shortly.
I was just telling
Yep.
anybody who is concerned.
So what are we looking at? 11409er?
Yeah, 0905 for Wendy.
All righty. Here we go. Metro Las Vegas, right? Okay, well, you can see who's in rear. You can see who's in rework. That's color coded in gray. And you can see the VSCs in 2020 and in 2021. And now keep in mind, and this is true with all of the reports coming out of the M Directorate, we're only as good as the data. So if the unit ISs are not doing their job, we can't pull it out of our ear. You know, the data has to be there, but we'll report on with what we have.
So does this software talk with the AD2 at all, or is it just independent?
This is all extracted from Aux Data 2 on a monthly
Oh.
basis. Absolutely. This is completely, totally dependent on what is in Aux Data.
Yeah,
I'm good.
okay.
But it's a good question. I'm glad you raised that. Anybody else want to look at any other specialty or in any other unit?
Yes.
Can you
we
sort
look at-
these, by the way? These
Right
tabs?
now, these are all different tabs for different specialties, so there's no need to sort them. But if you, for example, you wanted to get an alphabetical listing, absolutely you can sort them. It's an Excel spreadsheet,
Okay,
and we don't. I don't believe the page is protected, so you can. Once you have it, you can do whatever you want with it. You're not going to break it, and if you mess it up, you can always come back and get another one.
yeah. Yeah,
So let's see. It's we even have culinary on this, and public affairs, instructors, you name it, we've got it.
Can we look at PwC, please?
PwC coming right up.
Okay.
Okay, bear with me
Oh,
a second.
I don't need-
We'll use the slide here. Oh, PwC is a much shorter report anyway.
Yeah, well, I don't need to necessarily see ours. What
Well,
I'm not seeing. Okay,
What you're not seeing is,
is the NAV rules.
okay, if NAV rules are required for PwC, it'll be no trouble on our part to work those in.
Okay, great.
I'm glad we had this discussion. We will, let me make a note of that. We will fix that for the next release of TMR, which will be in about 2 weeks.
Great, thank you.
No problem.
Is that the same thing on Coxon?
Coxswain, we should have the NAV rules.
Coxon is already showing.
Yep, here we go.
Okay, all right.
good catch, Leslie.
And boat crew, we should have that too.
But boat crew doesn't need NAV
No,
rules.
you're right, it doesn't. And QEs, if they're in rear, we don't list them. It's kind of a special area. And I know do they do much aux pad out west? Or is that more of a Midwest thing?
We don't have it in our district.
No, I can see that.
Could you show us how to get my question? I've been on this page and I
Yep.
saw everything across the bottom about the specialties. And I looked at all of those. I want to look at my division and see
Okay.
what they need.
Okay, well,
Well,
yeah. On each of these tabs, you can, the first time you go down to your division, you're gonna have to scroll it, but we have instructions. Actually, we have instructions right here on getting rid of all these pesky eastern and midsection districts. So you can play with this for about 10 minutes and only have your division if you're so inclined.
I saw that also, Peter. Thank you so much.
Sure.
But what I'm really wanting is
Yeah.
not the specialties. I want to see the people in my division and are they REYR in general?
Yeah, that,
we can help train
this report doesn't do a kind of a omnibus breakout that way, because you can be re-year in one specialty, but not re-year in another. I see what you're getting at. At the current time, no, we don't have that capability.
Okay, well, it would be more the required things in general. CT, BQC2, RM, and so forth. Okay, so I'm not crazy. I couldn't find it because it wasn't there. Thank you.
You're not
thank you.
crazy.
Oh, good.
Peter, this is Don Roof in Division 4. Could you show instructors for Division 4, please?
Instructors coming up. I believe we're in the zone.
Yes, we are.
Starting with Northridge, right?
Right. Mhm.
Yikes, a lot of
still there.
rework going on. Okay,
Thank you.
sure thing. And to reinforce a previous point, but I'll make it again, we are not the rework or re-year police. Anybody you see here in rework or re-year, that is a DIROC's decision, not ours. That's the last thing we want to get involved in. We're here to report the facts, nothing more.
Yeah, and everything, your point is just coming from AD2 essentially, right? So whatever they
Correct.
put in, yeah.
Correct.
Right. Yeah.
So this underscores the importance of having timely and accurate data. For the most part, it is, but you can always, the data is as good as the people entering it, and this is where the unit IS really assumes a critical role, writ large.
Yeah.
This is true at both the flotilla and the division level.
Yeah, you've got a lot of categories. Am I correct? Generally, all of them repopulate once a month, or I know some of them were a little bit different, but
All these are we freshen these up once on a monthly basis,
Monthly
usually
basis.
around about mid-month. Yeah.
yeah, okay.
And we all the way from COXSWAINS across the board to public affairs.
Okay, yeah. Do you know offhand if AD2 refreshes that every day?
It does a pretty, yes. Once a DIROCS enters something, it'll refresh pretty quickly. In the old days, you would get some time delay going from AD2 to, for example, the AUX directory listing. But for us, the holy grail is AD2. If it's not in AUX data 2, as far as we're concerned, it's not there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the AUX directory is slave to AUX data 2. That's where they get their feed from. And I believe now they refresh, I think it's twice a day.
Okay, yeah.
Are there anomalies in AUX data 2? Of course there are. And sometimes, for example, you'll see some brave soul working 78,000 hours on a particular day, and usually they'll catch it and they'll go in and fix it. But there have been times I've been preparing national reports or reading what my director prepared, and it's like, holy smoke! Didn't know there were that many hours in a day.
Yeah. Speaking of hours, is there anything that you can report hours?
Well, for most of these categories, we report either, well, in the case of program visitors, it's MDVs. In the case of vessel examiners, it's vessel exams, but there's a lot of categories where we report hours.
Okay.
I'm a little leery of reporting hours in general, because the bulk of hours are RBS 99. And I would say that's underreported by about 70% of the auxiliary, overreported by about 15% of the auxiliary. Somebody wants to get that gold hourglass on the ribbon or what have you. And there's a small and proud minority that's actually pretty diligent about getting their 99 hours in on time.
Okay.
It's as a metric, I find that RBS 99 is broadly indicative, but really not beyond that.
And then the vessel examiners, does it show the counts they've done?
Yeah, look over in columns K and
Oh,
L.
right there. Okay.
Yep, it's all there.
That's okay. Yeah.
And likewise, for example, for program visits, where the heck did I put that? Here we go. For program visit, it shows marine dealer visits in DBs, and that's in
Okay.
column J and K.
Yeah. Yeah.
And culinary, it shows the number of pies they bake. Just kidding.
Have you thought about any kind of different way of presentation of data, like charts, graphs?
Well,
pie
we have.
charts?
You mean as far as this particular report is concerned?
Yeah, just reworking the numbers into some visuals.
It's an interesting question. To date, we haven't, but this might be good for reporting some aggregates. That's something we're always willing to look into. But a lot of our other reporting does in fact contain, well, as you saw in the LUCI application, for example.
Yeah. You get the bar charts. Yeah.
Also, there's a lot of charting and graphing in the trends reports, which unfortunately is only available down to the DCO level. But yeah, we do a number of a lot more data visualization in some of our apps. It's a good question, and we'll certainly look into that here.
Yeah.
Commodore Jensen, this is Chris Rosario. Can I be that guy and ask a more technical question?
Fire away.
Is there any thought of creating an OLAP cube that would allow slicing of this data as opposed to the flat Excel format?
We have not yet broached that, but let me make a note of it.
So I apologize. My day job is data and analytics, and I like this. But I also like the Salesforce report building tool, and their slicing functionality is not the best. And
thank you. I thought it was just me.
It is not just you. And the predefined data sets that they have in there, it doesn't cross over very well. So I love this. That what you've put together. I just like the ability to kind of have like a free form ability to slice, like during a division meeting or a staff meeting.
I may need, if not more funding, at least more staff. But this is definitely something to explore. Perfect. And this is true with a number of our other apps as well.
What, Peter, has been the, how would you recommend a flotilla commander use this kind of data, let's say, at a meeting with their members? I mean.
Well, for example, I would say a flotilla commander might want to look at this before his flotilla meeting, do a little research, and see if anything really sticks in his mind. Like we got a lot of people in re-year because they don't have AGGREGATES, or we have a lot of surface people whose quals for whatever reason have fallen into disrepair. And I'd say take a little time, go through the categories, those that are applicable. Obviously, if you're in Phoenix, you're probably not doing a whole lot of PWC, or maybe you are, I don't know. And just get a composite, just use this and some of our other tools to get a composite picture of what's happening, not just bad, but also good with your membership.
Yeah.
And see how things are coming along. I wouldn't look at this right during the meeting. My lawyer friends tell me for every hour they spend in a courtroom, they spend another 7 or 8 hours researching and writing briefs. Unglamorous stuff, but absolutely essential. And I'd say it's incumbent upon a flotilla and a division commander, for that matter, to read up on what's going on their end. And I would say don't just rely on this report, which with a focus on training, but go into LUCI and you can look at all your units side by side in a number of critical measures, and see who your leaders and laggers are, or maybe you have a number of leaders. It really depends on the units involved.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a whole welter of tools to choose from, and the more conversant a flotilla or a division commander or even a DCAP is with these, the more they can get a picture of what's going, not just what's going wrong, but what's going right and what needs remediation. Mr. Connors, you have a question.
It was more to share just a comment that you just were commenting on about reporting and what a flotilla commander might do. I'm FSOIS for my flotilla and my MT counterpart, and I used this extensively during the fourth quarter of last year to clean up a lot of our AGGREGATES successfully. So we knew who was already in trouble by year end. Plus we knew going into the new year who would be in trouble. And we basically crafted a letter with all of the links on how to take care of all of the issues, where to go to get your AGGREGATES self-attestation form and all of that. And it was all based on the work that you in your report. So the reports we found, this was good, but it was really the AGGREGATES report because I chose not just the AGGREGATES, but the basic qualifications as well, and RMT and TCT for our TCOs. So yeah, we used a lot of this last year, and it was really in the third and fourth quarter, and it was very helpful.
Well, my hat's off to you. I wish all our flotillas were this diligent on catching their members up, before they get bitten in the rear end by the march of time, so to speak.
And the other thing too, just to share that a lot of my MT didn't know about this, and my FC did not know about this report, and it only came up because we were trying to pull the data out of AUX Data 2 using the Salesforce reporting tool.
Oh,
and
my sympathies.
And our DSO had actually said to us, go to performance management to get the data you want, because the reports were much more accurate, because we were having problems trying to make the tables join and things like that.
Oh, it's a nightmare. Yeah.
Yeah, good point.
I mean, we've already reinvented the wheel. We've been doing it for years. And as I say, as we quickly discovered with AUX Data 2, we'll always have work. Just the nature of things. Incidentally, the Coast Guard sent AUX Data 2 to the auxiliary. Well, the reason why they backed out of AUX Data Classic is that it didn't meet various security protocols. All right, I can understand that. But when they looked at AUX Data 2, we're kind of the guinea pig for this. It'll be interesting to see if the gold side follows up. I'm not conversant with that state of play, but our trials and tribulations hopefully will benefit the Coast Guard as a whole. Anybody who's a unit IS in AUX Data 2, I salute you. Thank you for everything you do.
Yeah. I know our OTO sends out these activity reports and they look very similar. I'm thinking that's maybe where he would be pulling some of his reports from. I'm not sure, but in the
can't say, but we're certainly, OTOs are certainly welcome to look into this. I know a number of our reporting, a lot of our reports, BSX, which is the parent office of the chief director, has been very interested in this, and there's a number of things that we supply to them. In fact, the RM-TCT reporting that we do was developed at the direct request of the chief director. So he's a man you don't say no to.
Maybe Leslie, you might know, is that where our OTO gets some of his reports for his activity reports out of this?
Some of it I feed him from IS work that I've done, and some of it the YN and my replacement in the office capture while they're processing applications.
Okay, yeah.
It's a group effort.
Yeah, gotcha.
Anybody with an auxiliary login. I mean, the newest, as long as you have a user ID, you can be an AP status and pull these reports up. There's really no restriction here. So if the DIROCs wanted to pull that up, they would need an auxiliary login, which I imagine they have, but I'm not familiar with intimately familiar with the workings of a DIROCs. So I'll defer to your experience here.
It looks pretty similar in some ways here, so probably, maybe so.
Yeah, no, our OTO and director have auxiliary logins.
All right, then. Well, we're open for business. Steer them our way.
Yeah.
All right. Well, either my microphone has gone quiet or everybody's satisfied here. If you have any more questions, here I am. There's no place I have to be.
Thank you for doing this for us.
My pleasure.
Yeah, Peter, appreciate that.
Very much.
Thank you.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you for showing me where to find all this.
Yeah, thank you, Peter. You and your team are doing a marvelous job. As you know, so many members struggle with AD2, especially in the area of reports. It's just not friendly for reporting.
It really isn't.
You guys have filled that gap, and we really appreciate it.
We all struggle with AD2. I think once or twice my downstairs neighbor has asked me to watch my language, but that's the nature of Oxdata too. So,
It's also the nature of Darien and New Canaan, Connecticut.
I'm afraid so. I'm afraid so. I can see your point of view, but Lord have mercy, it is so frustrating sometimes. But we're getting there, one foot in the bucket. Yeah. All right. Well, before I forget, I will send Commodore Hartsfield a PDF of our presentation. That way, you don't have to write anything down, and we'll be good to go. And as they say in advertising, tell your friends. The more people know about these products, the more awareness we'll have of what's going on, and hopefully we'll start seeing our membership numbers going back in the right direction again.
Yeah, we've got our DSO member training with us tonight, so I'm going to ask that he makes sure that this PowerPoint gets down to at least to the division level.
And we also, since we're streaming this, the video of this will be on our YouTube page, the district YouTube page, so you can always go back, rewatch it, catch things you didn't catch the first time. So
that is shaved.
We won't. I can touch that up in editing.
Okay? Much obliged.
You want a goatee and maybe some sideburns? I can do that too.
I
do. Honored, I'm sure.
Yeah. But yeah, go ahead and send it to me and I will get it out to everybody, and then I'll get it posted on the website too, so people can get access to it.
You'll have it lickety split, Chris. I'll get this right up to you.
All right, cool.
Well, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Peter. You can go to bed now.
Come out of the do. Good night, everybody.
Take care.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you.
Storm.